The genesis of this lecture has to be explained first. It goes back to 2017 November. Our great professor of mining engineering, Professor Khanindra Pathak, had been inspiring me to put a research proposal to AICT, All India Council of Technical Education, on evaluation of teaching quality. Apparently, they were very interested in doing this, and so was I. I had been studying up on this subject for quite some time, and I was in two minds whether to write it up as a research proposal or whether to write it up as a lecture, series of lectures. In fact, I did both. But today, I have decided that I will probably talk to you on the research proposal. The reason being that if my concepts get accepted to a certain extent in the teaching community, and if some of you take it up as a research proposal, I will always be available at the background to help you to continue the research proposal, and this will be one of the best research possible in the area of educational technology. I have been looking at it for nearly 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and so without more introduction, let me begin on the lecture 5, evaluation of teaching quality research proposal. Before I actually begin on the subject, I will have no alternative but to, it will not be fair not to acknowledge the people and the books concerned. The preparation of this lecture, you will be surprised, has taken me nearly 200 hours of reading books. The main textbook reference is Scholarship of Teaching and Learning in Higher Education, an evidence-based perspective, and edited by Raymond Perry and Professor John C. Smart. It is Springer Verlag, 2007. As the first textbook, this textbook costs nearly 30,000 rupees and is about 900 pages thick. This article there or paper there, Low Inference Teaching Behaviors and College Teaching Effectiveness, Recent Developments and Controversies, by Professor Murray, University of Western Ontario. This is one of the major references, but he has more than one paper on this. And you'll be surprised, many of you think that education technology is an area where the researchers are new. It's not. There are 3,000, more than 3,000 papers. There were more than 3,000 papers on the subject of measurement of teaching quality in the year 2005. Professor Murray himself has written about that in his own book. So the area, and I personally have been conducting research on it for a very, very, very long time. This is one of the major reasons of my coming to educational technology. Next reference is authors Carl Wyman, Stanford University, and I have given the email address. Harry G. Murray, University of Western Ontario. I have given the email address which you will be able to look at if you go near. And Kenneth Feldman, again I have given the address, Studies on Years book. These are the three main authors. There are very large number of authors involved, but these are three main authors I have used in my lecture. The pedagogy website, I have talked very little about it in this particular lecture, but it is important, and I urge all of you to really look at this pedagogy website, www.ide.iitkgp.ernet.in. It's an important website. A great deal of work has been done in this website. This talks about the other aspects of it, which consider probably another 30 lectures. I acknowledge in this form Professor Karl Wyman has very kindly given express permission to use material published in the website CWACI. CWACI was founded by Professor Wyman, and this particular website, the only word I can use to explain this is that this is a gold mine. I request the participants of this course to make full use of this material. I am sorry that due to my ill health at the moment, I am unable to put together a more coherent presentation of this excellent topic. It really is a fantastic topic. You'll be surprised. It includes artificial intelligence, machine learning, and it includes education technology, pedagogy, a whole range of issues. But I'm unable to put it together today because of my ill health. Now a little more about Professor Wyman. I got his permission. It's a little surprising because in the beginning, when I was looking at the site and when I was looking at his books, his publishers have written very specifically that no one can use any material from that book for any purpose whatsoever, and they will be prosecuted for that, which held me back a lot, and I didn't know how to go about it. So I took a chance. 3 days back, or about a week back, I wrote to Professor Wyman directly, asking for permission, and Professor Wyman directly gave me permission to use any material published in this book in any form I like. Professor Wyman needs a little introduction. Well, it really shouldn't. He is a professor of pedagogy at Stanford University. He is also a professor of physics at Stanford University. He is advisor to the United States of America on higher education. And by the way, he is a Nobel laureate in physics. So, and he has been working in this area very extensively for the last 15 years. With that kind of acknowledgement, I begin the discussion. Since it was a research proposal, its format was a little different. Key points being discussed in this lecture and the subsequent 2 or 3 lectures are these. A reliable and simple method of finding a valid teaching quality index for individual faculty, departments and institutions is highly desirable. Listen to it once again. A reliable and simple method of finding a valid teaching quality index. It means it's not a description of a whole range of things. One single word, one single number is a teaching quality index. People will say it's absurd. A single number cannot give a quality index for something as complex as teaching. But teaching quality index, and it should be valid teaching quality index for individual faculty, for departments and for institution is highly desirable. I repeat this again. Let us say there is an institution A and an institution B and institution C. A has departments A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. B similarly has B1, B2, B3, B5, B4, B5. C similarly has C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. And within the departments A1, there are faculty A11, A12. What we are saying is that every faculty in the department, every department in an university, and every university should have a single teaching quality index. If the teaching quality index of one institution is higher than another one, it should mean that that institution is practicing better teaching practices. It's quite a demand. Number 2, teaching quality can be improved greatly. I had a slide earlier which I have erased. If proven good teaching practices are used, this can be improved greatly. And Professor Karl Wyman has actually proved that and demonstrated that. In fact, let me tell you a little anecdote. I joined IIT Delhi in 1987, 2nd June, I believe. Just come back from Australia on the 1st of June. And at that time, the director at that time wanted me to be introduced to the IIT Kharagpur faculty, IIT Delhi faculty, and the senior bureaucrats in the Ministry of Education. So he called a workshop on the 8th of June, and along with others wanted me to speak to it. There was one professor, very senior and very reputed and very powerful professor. His views counted. So after he finished his lecture, his welcome to me was, those who can teach, those who can do, those who cannot teach, those who cannot even teach, teach how to teach. This was my introduction to IIT Delhi, Ministry of Education, and all these senior people. You can understand how I felt. And the other faculty, who was also a very powerful faculty, said, teaching ability is inherited, it cannot be improved. With this background, I am now talking about how to improve teaching quality. So teaching quality can be improved greatly if proven good teaching practices are used. It is worth repeating this statement. Teaching quality can be improved greatly if proven good teaching practices are used. Let me use an analogy. A company which produces cars, or a company which produces, let us say, aircrafts, ships, or shoes, anything for that matter. Every industry has a list of good practices. If they use those practices, good practices which have been accumulated over years, collected across the world, then their product would be good. This is well known. Teaching is no exception. If teaching one can qualify, one can identify what are good practices, meaning thereby which practices improve teaching, then if you use those, then teaching quality will improve greatly. There is no doubt about that. Such teaching practices can be learned. a very aggressive statement that it can be learned. People think that good teachers are born, not made. This is not true. I repeat, this is not true. Good teachers like Feynman, Richard Feynman, they are born. But others can improve a great deal indeed. So this is the story here. Carl Wyman has demonstrated the feasibility of the above, and this is what we shall use. Primarily it is his work and his team's works which I am going to use in this presentation. So, key points: reliable and simple method of finding a valid teaching quality index, one index, not a series of lectures, not a series of statements. Index for individual faculty, departments and institutions is highly desirable if it is possible. Now, the next issue is teaching quality, why and how. Why do I need to get a or measure teaching quality? I think all of us who have been in the practice of teaching know. I personally have been in this practice 50 years, over 50 years. All of us know what counts towards promotion for faculty. Faculty are supposed to do three things: research, consultancy and teaching. Their output is measured by output of research, output in consultancy, output in teaching. Research output is the easiest thing to measure and is the most widely used thing which is measured and on which, really speaking, the promotions take place. So, every faculty goes for research and neglect consultancy and neglect teaching. If they don't neglect consultancy, they may not sometimes, because there is a lot of money involved in that. But teaching really has no value whatsoever as far as any faculty is concerned. How do you measure research quality? Research quality is measured by the number of publications, the type of journals in which it is published, the impact factor, the citation index, the number of awards given by professional societies, the number of the kind of recognition given by professional societies. These are the indexes of research, and they are all easily measured. Consultancy is simple. The amount of money you have brought in and the quality of the consultancy, that is simple. Teaching, how do I measure teaching? There is no way of measuring teaching reliably and without controversy, and therefore it is neglected completely, and faculty move on to do research and consultancy. Why is it important to objectively evaluate undergraduate teaching? Not opinion, but objectively. There is no other fair way to reward and encourage good teaching. If we can objectively evaluate undergraduate teaching without controversy and say A is a better teacher than B, or B is not as good a teacher as C, and not get into controversy, where A would agree, B would agree, and C would agree, all of them would agree, then a great deal of achievement has been made. But then I am basically asking for almost the impossible. Both research and consultancy outputs are much easier to measure without too much controversy. Individuals, departments an institutional teaching quality measure can benefit all. For example, if I find the mathematics department of this particular university has undoubtedly better teaching quality index than mathematics department of another university, and it is proven beyond doubt that this is so, then a lot of good students will flock towards the particular better university. So this is extremely important if we can do that. But then it's full of controversy. Otherwise, there would not be 3,000 plus research papers in the last 50 years on this particular subject. So the problem statement is basically repeat how to measure teaching quality reliably and objectively without having to spend undue time and effort. It may be possible to spend a great deal of time and effort to measure teaching quality. Nobody will do that again and again. How to use this information to encourage good teaching, that means give due recognition, career advancement and improve teaching. The last one is equally, if not more important from others. This means you bring in the concept of why measure teaching quality. If you measure teaching quality and say A is a better teacher than B, B is a better teacher than C, then all you do is to be able to reward A and B and C. You can never bring up C to a B, you can never bring up B to A, because we are not looking at how to improve teaching quality, how to improve teaching using this teaching quality index. So the teaching quality index must also have a built-in feature that this can be used to improve teaching very, very easily indeed, without much effort. So two main purposes are reward the teacher by career advancement, recognition, and to improve his or her teaching without much problem. Criteria for judging teaching effectiveness measures. How would I judge that somebody's teaching is better than somebody else's teaching? What are the criteria we should look at? 1. Validity must correlate with the achievement of desired student outcomes. We may discuss this for ad infinitum. You might ask, what is the purpose of teaching? What is the purpose of teaching? I don't think many people would disagree too much if I say that if an institution or a department or faculty have pre-decided that at the end of a course or a subject or a particular lesson, the students would be able to demonstrate learning outcome in this particular area effectively. That means students will be able to show that this is what he can do, which he could not do before because of the teaching. That would be the desired student outcome. That means student is able to show that they can do things which they could not do earlier. That would be a effective student outcome, achievement of student outcome, desired outcome. As validity. Meaningful comparisons must allow comparisons with an accepted standard. Meaningful comparison must allow comparison with an accepted standard. That means unless there is a reference and I can say my teaching or this particular person's teaching is better than, equal to or less than that particular standard, then there is no reference, then there is no reference at all. And fairness, valid for all types of courses, irrespective of class size, level, subject, student preparedness, etc., factors beyond instructor's control. The word factors beyond instructor control is of extreme importance. This is where there has been a lot of controversy all over the world over the last decades and decades. My own research beginning 2001 till 2009 concentrated on this. Look at the problem. Let me see if I can show you a fairness. Supposing you are comparing the teaching of n number of teachers. One teacher teaches in a room which is large, well lit, with all electronic facilities available. The another room is cramped, doesn't have any facilities, and the number of students in that room are far too many. And there could be a third room of a different characteristic. At the end of a semester, if I compare the teaching of the three teachers, they will be very, very unfair, because the facilities available in the three rooms were completely different. It's perfectly possible that one faculty has to teach too many students, other faculty may have to teach only a few students. So there are a large number of variables. The subject matter, it could be teaching, somebody could be teaching pure mathematics to young minds in the first year, and somebody else could be teaching philosophy to old students who do not really want to take that course. So factors beyond the control of faculty may affect and do affect the teaching quality significantly. But I'll come back to this issue again. Criteria for judging teaching quality effectiveness measures to ease of implementation, not too much investment of time and money is required, should be required. We have measured teaching effectiveness, and we find that one faculty has a higher index than another faculty. But to reach that index, a great deal of time, effort and money has to be spent by the university to bring other faculty to that, then that is useless. Facilitate improvement of teaching quality, that we have already said so, and reliability must be reasonably consistent. That if we say the teaching index, quality index of faculty A is X, then it should remain near about X or X all the time. It should not vary from one course to another. It should not vary over periods of time. It should be nearly constant. I think I'll take up the next part of the thing in the next lecture.